Welcome to 2 on the 10.
Welcome back, boys and girls. How you doing today? I'm Paul.
I'm Mitch.
Greedy Nick.
This is 2 on the 10, baby.
Episode 3. All 3 of them.
All 3 of them.
Like Birdman would say.
Yeah. How you guys doing? Good?
Good. How about you?
Oh, another day, another dollar, What about you, Greedy Nick?
Another day, another 25 cents.
I hear you on that. Oh, man.
Is that from your OnlyFans account?
It is.
Oh,
My one subscriber, I think it's my mom.
okay. Ooh, your mom. Oh, I'm not even touching that. I'm not even.
Pause.
Yeah.
Pause.
I'm not even touching that, man. Hey, what is going on with this TikTok ban, brother? I know you are a big social media guy, and this TikTok ban is kind of crazy right now. So far, I think starting next month, the government is going to ban TikTok far as on all government phones. Starting out with anything related to the government, you cannot have TikTok on that phone, which was kind of crazy to me. This is a little bit of overreach, but I'd like to hear what you think about it.
Do you really want to hear what I think?
Yeah, of course. I always want to hear what you're thinking, man.
I think part of this is control psyop stuff personally, because some of the things I'm hearing is that, first of all, for example, Facebook, Instagram, getting their ass kicked by TikTok.
Okay.
And if no other proof in the pudding, look who is copying who right now, right? So what, you got the Reels, what's Instagram doing the Reels?
Right.
What's Facebook doing? Is it Reels too? Because they're owned by the same people.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
The Reels, and then even YouTube's doing the shorts.
No, YouTube doing shorts.
Okay,
yeah.
so first of all, imitation is the biggest form of flattery, and haterism also.
Right.
So I'm gonna say that. And I can't verify it, but I agree with the sentiment. I heard a few people speaking on the fact that create the propaganda that it's China and and that it's going to be dangerous for us because it seems like we can talk about any variable, but whatever the problem is, it's China, it's Russia, it's them, it's always them.
Right.
But half the time we find out it's with us. It's Al Qaeda. Oh, we created them. It's the drug cartels, but the CIA brought it into the country. You know what I mean? Like the war on drugs, but not really.
Right.
It's always a boogeyman effect.
But I can say I'm guilty of this. Because I heard rumors about China being able to spy on you. Collect data on your phone, stuff like that. I actually have 2 phones. I initially didn't have it.
Hey, chill out, Kevin Gates.
I got 2 phones.
Yeah, it's not my trap phone either. One was for business at the time. So, but I wanted to see what TikTok was all about, so I actually downloaded it on my other phone, not my main phone, but my other phone.
Your side phone.
And I still have it to this day. I call it my TikTok phone. And actually, I like TikTok. If you use it in the right way, it's not about just dances and memes and stuff like that. They actually have some really informational stuff on there. Some life hacks, some things that you would never think of that people are out there actually sharing on the platform. And I kind of agree with you a little bit. I agree on this part. Yes, is Facebook worried about what TikTok's doing? Yes, but I'm kind of jumping in your conspiracy theory boat here, where I'm saying it's a platform that kind of brings us together, because sharing ideas and stuff like that. And the biggest way to keep people apart is to divide us. And this it's kind of a platform that kind of brings us together. I mean, young and old, rich and poor, black, white.
Now, isn't this ban just they're talking about on government issued phones?
Right now, it's just on government issued phones. But
do you think that's just the start of it, and then they're going to try to just ban it outright in the U.S.?
Yeah, I mean that's.
Remember, even Trump tried to brought up the fact that we shouldn't be messing with it because it was China involved or whatever.
Because the only one thing I will say on the government issued phones is working in a corporate environment. on our corporate phones that they give out, they can limit exactly all the apps. So we can't have any social media on our corporate phones. Everything is blocked. And they because, there's corporate sensitive data on those phones, they don't want someone to have access in through a untrustworthy app or something. So they block a lot of that stuff. So I can understand why maybe the government would want to do that. But is this a precursor for some bigger type of ban is more of the question.
Well, let me say this real quick. First of all, okay, I'm gonna put my phone up here. Where's my phone made?
China?
Are we banning my phone? Case closed, Your Honor. It's as simple as that. I mean, like, seriously, all our phones are made in China. Apple or Android, they're made in China. They can't sneak devices on that monitor us.
Right.
It's more about the dollar and control, in my opinion. I'll say this again: all these other apps or these other medias, the TikToks, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, etc. You notice they're censoring. They have fact checkers, right?
Right.
I'm not saying TikTok doesn't or won't, but they're fact checking for different things. In fact, the what I've read up on is they're concerned with China and what you're saying about China, or more of their citizens saying about China, just like the tech that was created here is concerned about what we're saying about here. So I think that would be threatening, to a government that wants to control everything and to control how people think. Then guess what? You create the boogeyman effect like you always do with everything you do. It's something you can't beat. And half the sleeping people, sleep dead people are going to go, oh, China, TikTok, bad,
Right.
whatever. But the reality is we've gave up our rights a long time ago when we put all this shit on our phones.
Right.
I mean,
No, I hear you. I mean, I just think it may be a little bit more, this overreach by the government, especially on social media. But hey, what do I know? Maybe they do have some intel that I don't know about that. China has spyware, and collecting data on us. I don't know, but like I said, I bought into it, at the beginning.
China's spying. They're just trying to find out, when they get us all as citizens here in the near future, we're all part of the Chinese government, citizens. We need, they want to know about us. I think, that's a good thing. When you're going on a first date and you're meeting a girl, you're going to do a little research, find out what kind of girl she is. They're doing the same thing for their soon to be citizens, I would say.
Hold on a second, Nick. But I mean, doing a little research and stalking the girl are two different things, right?
That is true.
He's kind of expert in that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank you for sharing.
But
First name Peeping, last name Tom.
But talking about a little bit of overreach, let's talk about like COVID, COVID and the corruption and whatnot. COVID was one of those times where it came by storm. At first, we were all joking about it, and then all of a sudden, folks started dying, and we got kind of serious about it, and then all of a sudden, we have all these shutdowns, and we can't go anywhere, and our whole life changed for anywhere from
People are telling us we gotta wear masks.
6 to 8 weeks, and it was a wild time right now.
No, agreed.
I told my mom. I remember during COVID, I called her up and I said, I'm scared, and she was like, "Oh, you scared of COVID?" I was like, "No, I'm scared. I'm gonna become an alcoholic."
Oh, you already passed that. Don't trip. Don't trip.
Because I woke up and it was like, drink when you wake up, drink when you drink all day, drink when you go to sleep, and wake up and do it
What
again.
kind of COVID program were you on?
It was like Groundhog Day. It was crazy. You had nothing to do. So all you had to do was like go to the grocery store, get the food, come back, and drink all day. It was wild, man. But anyway, they had all from that. It was from this overreach. You had all these like scams going on. You had these, they're all coming out now. You had the PPP loan scams. The CEO, the co-founder of Lab Elite, he just got indicted. He had 83 million false tests, false COVID tests.
Imagine that.
But this is what I'm getting at. It was like that time was just, it was just wild and stuff like that. And I don't know, man. Like I said, the government, for me, the government created this issue to kind of testing us out. We were the human lab rats at that time.
We always are.
Yeah.
We always are. I'll say this, and where the fuck do we start? Where do we begin? Where do we finish? We don't have enough time on the show to get my opinion on this, much less all this, So bear with me. My ADD brings us all over across the roads and back and forth. Follow with me. I'm not talking too fast. You're just listening too slow. No, but for real, wow. Where do we want to start? We're talking about corruption. Let me throw some corruption facts out there. First of all, $42 trillion in wealth was created in the first 2 years of COVID.
Wow.
So, boom, there you go. 42 trillion, right?
Right.
Let's see. I'll say this. The very rich got richer, and, the middle class and poor kept shrinking,
Right.
For example, the Walmarts and Amazon spent 5 times more of their money, paying back their stockholders and shareholders than they did, than they ever would to pay their employees, which were struggling,
Right.
and going under. And that's one thing that kills me. I know we're capitalism, and, for the most part, I am for that. But, the greed and the excuse of capitalism to not pay people the right wage. And I'm not going to say, certain jobs don't create the right wage, but you take the whole structure of the system, how much money you bring in, the importance of these people, et cetera, and you make that to make sense, in my opinion. If your business is super profitable, there should be a trickle down effect.
Right.
Because, and that will create the right employee. But a lot of these businesses, in my opinion, go, everybody's replaceable. We'll just get somebody else in, pop it in. The rich keep getting richer. A couple other stats: the 10 richest men, the 10 richest men in the world doubled their fortunes over COVID.
Wow.
And then a person I'm not gonna lie, that I'm too fond of. Dr. Fauci, who, by the way, we know was in doing his work during the AIDS and the AIDS era, whatever. He made him and his wife made over $5 million during those couple of years. His wealth, I believe, his total wealth is like 12 million right now, but he made 5 of it during COVID. So it seems like it seemed like shit was going good. Business was booming, right?
For a lot of people, apparently.
Pfizer, just in 2022, their sales were what, $100.3 billion.
Wow.
Over half of that we can say went to COVID. Right. From COVID. Thank you, COVID.
Right.
And then and what's crazy about the whole thing? All right, let me stop there for a second and say this. It seems like anytime there's a situation that they kind of lead into, we run into, we get scared, we panic, etc. A lot of things come from it, and those things come. We lose more rights. The powers that be get more control over us. And the elite of the elite get richer.
Right.
And we can say that from this. We can say that from 9/11. We can say that from almost any big tragedy that happens. Now, is that coincidence?
Like I said.
Or is that conspiracy?
Well, it could be a little bit of both.
Well, I'll tell you this. I know a lot of people will say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, Mitch. Well, you know what? I'm going to call you a word that I made up. I'm going to call you a coincidence theorist. And, seriously, everything's a coincidence. Oh, yeah, And,
You say you don't believe in the coincidence?
No, I'm saying that they're both are possible, but one train of thought is that's never possible. And then when it happens, they just reset and go, oh, I'm going to act like it didn't happen because my pride's on the line and I, it's wrong. And now I'm just going to reset. And in fact, I'm going to be upset at you still. I was upset at you during this COVID thing because you were saying things that I didn't agree with because I was afraid and I was kind of a little bitch, and I mean, I get that. Don't get me wrong. I get that you're afraid. I get you're afraid for your families. I get this. But at that point, you were just like, fuck everybody, your rights, fuck this. I bought the narrative that they sold me. And it pisses me off because check the history of the people that are selling it. And we're talking about the people that did the Tuscany experiment. We're talking about the people that did, Iran-Contra. Like, and I'm just going to use a couple examples real quick, and I'm going to go off on a tangent, but fuck it.
9/11 too, don't forget that.
Huh?
They did 9/11 too, don't forget that.
I mean, allegedly, right? Because, and that's the other thing. We live in this world, thank you for saying that, Nick. We live in this world where it's reported on the TV. So the surface level people, 50% of the world, that's exactly what happened, exactly how they told it. But then you find out all this other information, but because the narrative was already said, it's enough people, we kind of talk within, like people even that go, there's no conspiracy. They know better. They're smart people. They know that it didn't just happen like that. How'd Building 7 just fall out of nowhere with no plane hitting it?
Yeah, that's the one that, there's probably about 30% of people that lived through 9/11 that don't even know a third building fell that day. It's crazy. I actually had a coworker of mine that's a smart, older individual that had no idea a third building, and he was a big time like, no, the story's the story. And I asked him, I said, well, how do you explain this? And it changed his mind. He's like, I don't know how you explain that, and I don't know how that happened.
And let's take a step back. I don't want to be so harsh on people. Like, I'm kind of just, I'm on one for a second. But I'll just say this. People, and they know this, they know all this shit more than we know it, more than I know it, more you, or whatever. But they know what our goals are. They put our goals in our head. I mean, like they we've been programmed since we started going to schools, and we're programmed, we're programmed with, capitalism. We're programmed with, our goals, and we guys those that know they're for our families, for the best, it's for the good. Cool, of course. So when things, kind of take us off those paths, it's like, well, it's like ignorance is actually bliss. It's easier to be ignorant. And I don't mean that as disrespect. I'm saying it's easier to be ignorant and just keep putting your head forward, pounding through, pause, and trying to achieve the goal that's what your goal was, because other than rearranging, thinking the world is a different place and changing your goal.
Right.
I mean, that's why I think these guys, and when I say these guys, and maybe we'll get into it later in another show and down the road, I'll keep dropping hints, whatever else. But the powers that be, whatever that even means, they play 6G chess, they play 6D chess on us, and motherfuckers are just playing jacks. They're not even on the checkerboard yet. And they know that. They know that. They really know that, and I really think it's obvious in how people react to shit. So it's like, they already know the stats, they know the data, they know how we're going to think, they know how we're going to move. And what they're trying to do is eliminate the doubt on the people that, think outside the box, Again, that's my 2 cents on that. Because we brought up 9/11,
Yeah.
I mean, and one other thing too, first of all, okay, if we trust why do we trust these people? Like here's the thing. If you're married, let's just say, right, and your significant other does something that's kind of funny to you, maybe you allow it once. Second time you start questioning shit, Third time you're like, hold on a second, this don't even add up, blah, 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 blah. Why would you check the person that you love for better or for worse, forgiveness and health, whatever, blah, 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 Why would you check them? Why would you check your brother? Why would you check your parents? But the government, no, because it's comfortable. It's comfortable.
Right.
We were so programmed, beat over the head to flinch, to take the orders that were given,
Right.
Well, I mean, I've always been a big one into like the whole JFK conspiracy,
Yeah.
and which I don't even think is a conspiracy anymore. The more stuff that comes out over the years, but it's like, why do you have to seal records for 70 years or whatever the time was, and why do you keep pushing things back for releasing records, and why the records that release are redacted, and all the things with the magic bullet theory? It's like there's reality, and then there's there's fantasy world, and they expect us to believe that a lot of this stuff is fantasy world. But then when we come out with even something with facts, they'll be like, oh, well, no, that's fantasy. And it's
Well, let me be on the other side of this and saying, what if, the common man, whether it be an American or, some foreigner, can't accept or they're not ready for the truth yet. So you have to slowly drip it out. And so,
well, it's true. You can't handle the truth like that movie.
Right.
You can't handle the truth. Let's get it. I mean, I agree. I
mean, we got, we're coming out with, the UFOs were in the news big. And,
I read it, but here's the thing. I read about that in 2004.
Right.
That there's going to be a time, and William Cooper spoke about it, in his books, what's it called? As far as there's going to be, so it's pretty interesting now, and I always have this question, does life imitate art, or does art imitate life?
Right.
Because here's the thing. In 2004, I'm reading this book, and I'm, into conspiracy, but I'm not fully emerged. But, there's a lot of things in my life that allowed me to be where I'm at that you could never explain. I'll talk about them over the course of these shows. Shit that you could never explain that would be on a movie, be like, no, it didn't happen. But I got enough people that, saw a few different episodes of it to go, what the fuck? We sit there and go, what the fuck together? It's not even possible.
Right.
So because of those experiences, and then my own discernment from those experiences and my own belief system allows me to take this. I don't believe some other clown over here or over there or whatever. In fact, I try not to believe those people.
Right.
Because my better self tells me, that's going to lead me in the wrong place.
Right.
But it's at the point where it's like I'm open-minded to the possibilities. And whereas more people are comfortable to, not the possibilities, because that's not a place that they want to dwell. And at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, how I think, and a lot of us do, you still have to come back to, because I was at a point one time where you go down these rabbit holes.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, what am I going to work for tomorrow? What am I doing this for? What am I planning for the future? What am I going even out to the club this weekend? You got to take it in perspective. And in fact, if it's drastic and it looks gloomy, that makes you, in my opinion, the 2 cents to win on this is it makes you appreciate the friendships you have. It makes you appreciate the bonds, the shit that's real, the shit you can trust. It makes you value that way more than anything else. And that's what gets you going. You're going, damn, this type of friendship, this type of bond, and all this other bullshit going on. This is what, this is real. And you know that to be real. And when you know that to be real, you embrace that and hold on to that shit. And that's where I'm not going to be doom and gloom, or this ain't a bad situation. It's just, you're making the best of it, but let's be real. I want the truth, I want the truth. I'm going to keep searching for the truth. And anybody that tries to take me off that path, fuck you. Straight up.
Just be careful. Yes, we just lost that Disney sponsor there, but
Well, they own ABC, they own ESPN. Embrace debate. We can go on. Now you can understand why Caitlyn Jenner was the man of the year.
you touching on that, man. Oh man, that's
Let me just drop one more thing, because I know we're going all over the floor. But I'll just say this too. I mean, here's the crazy part. Back to real quickly, the whole COVID thing. Okay, so 2019. When was your guys' understanding when COVID was actually announced?
let me see.
Early 2020, like February, January, February, you started hearing about it.
Yeah. Probably. I think around Christmas. I think that's when they heard kind of like the first case. I remember the one thing that I remember when it became big is when Cardi B, they were doing that. They were doing that meme with Cardi B was like when she was gonna. It was like
did she make-
Corona.
Oh yeah, that's right. Did she make WAP yet?
Yeah, I think she made WAP before that song. So it was around that same time, but it was like Corona. and at first it was, I was even on social media making a joke about it, just, saying, finally, we'll make these motherfuckers wash their hands, you dirty ass motherfuckers around here spreading around. Cause, it spread like wildfire, when it was just a few people, then you had cases, and then all of a sudden, it's in your state, and then now, like, because I remember it was like, I first heard it was like 2 people in Texas had it, and then from there, it just went crazy, and then, it really got serious, and I was like, man, this is actually
we were all shook. I'm not gonna act like I was sitting here and just going, "Oh, it's a conspiracy."
Right.
No, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Let me try and figure this shit out. I mean, I was talking to everybody. We're talking, remember all the letters? Oh, my military friend's gonna deport. they're gonna sit there. They're gonna martial law. Start martial law over here. I mean,
and see, and I think that's the problem when I know you say, I'm not a conspiracy thing. I'm open-minded, but I think when people start taking it to the extreme, just like you said, you kept giving you some examples of, people say, talking about martial law and all that stuff, and I heard from a friend this is going to happen. That's what starts that snowball effect, and like, you get actual facts mixed up with fiction.
Well, I'll tell you this. This is the one thing, and I learned this. I humbly learned this early on too, is that you got to be very careful what you say. At the end of the day, taking these positions, especially that aren't popular sometimes, is it comes with a lot of responsibility. So you want to fact check. And I know, where do you get the facts, especially when the world's slanted? You know what I mean? Like when the world is rigged. The world is rigged. DuckDuckGo doesn't even do all that. You know what I mean? You got to really find your facts. You got to speak educatedly. You got to be able to, if you do say something that's false or wrong, you got to be able to eat that and redact that and say, hey, I was wrong on this.
Right.
And you're going to lose people off the boat because of that. But it's like an MLM. It's like, you're saying something, the minute it doesn't work, you're done.
Right.
But I mean, so, and people will point to the one thing, especially when it comes to, you're against the grain. You said one thing out of 50 that was wrong, and they're going to keep saying that one thing.
Right.
It's like the one person that doesn't want to believe the Bible, and that's up to you. Oh, the chapter of this said this one time, and I'm not good with that, so I'm done. And it's an easy out. It's an easy out. You don't want to, at the end of the day, if you're trying to find the truth, you know, you got to do that extra work. You also got to be real about it, and you got to own, you know, you got to own if you do make a mistake. First of all, you want to be very careful of that because a lot of people, you know, are listening until they aren't, and you know, and that's when you tell them wrong information, and then at that point, your reach or what you're trying to do is jeopardized.
Right.
So you gotta
It's
be
your
careful.
your credibility.
Yeah, without doubt, exactly.
The scariest thing for me is like, where do you find the truth anymore? Because with the age of the internet, I mean, they did this back in the day when there was, you know, writing and books. If they, you know, if a government or somebody didn't agree, they burned the books, trying to get other thoughts and opinions out of, you know, the human capacity. So they would burn all the books, and then like it didn't happen. The book didn't exist, and you don't get that reading. Now with the internet, the day of the internet, if they want to put out a story and then 3 days later, they can just click a button and that story is gone. And so how would you really fact check something when the pages of the story are changing every second of every day? And it's like a book that you can read one day and the next day and it's a totally different story.
Well, you said fact check. That's you know. Thanks for bringing that up. First of all, people that were using the fact checkers like they were the, you know, that was the end all. You have to trace back, you know, who's funding the fact checkers.
Yeah.
And half the time, especially in this game, it was the Rockefeller Foundation or the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And that's what's so crazy to me. And people didn't even realize that. And then now they might, and they don't even care, you know. That's what's so interesting about this whole thing is it's all paid propaganda, you know. I mean, it's not any different. It's just a
So
new
you're saying it wasn't non-biased?
Oh, of course. No, not at all. Not at all. Of course. I mean, let's put it this way. They ban people, you know, for saying certain things that were proven to be true now. I'm sure they banned, what's his name? The Kennedy lawyer. You know, they banned Robert Malone, the doctor. I mean, they banned so many people and they fired people. And, you know, it's like.
I mean, they fired people for not taking the jab, and
Yeah.
and now all the stuff's coming out that maybe it's not so safe. And I guess only time will tell. History will tell who's on the right side of what, or if there's a right or wrong side. I mean, but was it the smart thing to do to force vaccinate?
And let me say
millions
this
of
real
people?
quick. I just want to say this. So, I mean, not that people care about my stance, but I just wanted, because if they're listening, my stance on the whole thing was do what's best for you and your family. But, you know, be educated about it, put your work in. Don't just trust what the government says. You know, and at the end of the day, hey, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, whatever. And not that you need my approval, but here's the other thing. It sounded like I needed your approval. And that's where we have a problem.
Yeah.
You didn't care about my religion, my spirituality, or whatever I believe. You knocked whatever I studied and said that wasn't it because the one source had to be the CDC, you know? And now we know that's false. That's rigged and it's set up to whatever degree. Even the slightest degree, it's still false. It's, you know, and these people felt a certain way, and that's what kills me. Is they felt a certain way. Like, and the sad part about it is, a lot of them, when nobody talks about it, nobody's ever said ever, "My bad, I'm wrong."
No.
Nobody ever. They just sit there and try and reset or rewind. And then the funny part is, I truly feel half of them are still mad at you because they're wrong.
They're wrong. Yep.
They're wrong.
No, I totally agree. At the time, I was just dating a girl at the time, and we could never talk about it because, you know, I'm not going to tell you what side I was on, but we had that disagreement about being vaccinated and not being vaccinated at that time. And
Well, I'm sure she pulled the education card. I'm so educated on this, but not in that subject.
yeah, and so I always felt it was just another way to divide us and put on it because it just came on so fast, so quick, and I just felt like it was forced. And whenever you're feeling forced, you gotta take your gut feeling. You know what I'm saying? If your gut's telling you, hey, this ain't right, then you gotta take a step back, and you shouldn't be ostracized because of your feelings, the way you feel about things. As long as it's not hurting or killing anybody, that was our thing. She was saying, "Oh, well, you're out here endangering." I guess I'm spilling the tea which way I'm on, but you're out here endangering, folks. I'm like, well, no, because if you're already vaccinated, then how am I going to endanger you?
Let me say this. I get it.
I didn't want to go down that road.
The powers that be set that play up.
Right.
Trust me, like they set every play up. We could talk about it, and we will talk about it eventually. I'll cover this stuff. It's this whole you know what? Regardless of what you're doing, that's not good enough because you're endangering me and my family. And so you're the threat and you're the bad guy now.
Right.
And that's the whole mindset, That's the whole mindset. It's not, and you know what's funny, if you flip it, we took this and we might get, myocarditis or whatever else, but nobody's saying it that way. Right. It was like this energy coming one way. Like, I hate you. I'm angry at you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to look at your reels anymore. Like all this stuff. I trust me. I know. Right. And it's like, I didn't have that energy. Like, I didn't have that energy. Like, first of all, let me just say this. I'm a grown ass man. I really, we talk a lot of shit. We have a lot of fun. Right. We express ourselves. But here's the thing. If what you do is going to make me angry, I mean, that's about me.
Right.
That's really about me at the end of the day.
Right. Well, I think it comes.
I can't give you that power.
Here's the thing.
At least not for too long.
No, it's like, I think right now I feel one of the things that are wrong with society right now is we're not allowed to have an opinion anymore. It's like we can't talk. It's either my way, or nothing.
And politically correct.
Yeah, so politically correct, and it's not that way. I mean, we can't talk to each other anymore, and I don't know if that's by design or if I don't know how we involved in that because everything's so touchy, and yeah, you can't come out and just be a blatant asshole or a blatant.
But even if you are, you get what you deserve. You get what you deserve.
Yeah, but it's like even people, are so sensitive about. You may say a word. You gotta say. I identify as this, or he, she. What I don't know all these acronyms. I ain't gotta say shit. I don't know all all these acronyms.
Well, here's the thing,
and so I don't want to get blowback because I don't know how you identify something like that. So it's just that's what I'm saying is like it's. I just feel like. Sometimes we're walking on eggshells.
Well, I'll say this: our generations and generations on us are caught in the crossfire for sure. Right. I mean, regardless. I know I'm gonna get some heat. We're '80s babies, Right. I mean, the way I look at it, that's my definition. '80s babies, right? So it's like we grew up the MTV generation. We grew up, I remember.
Is that the 1880s for you?
Hey, keep playing with your computer. I'll just say this. You go to the mall, go to the Walden bookstore, go in the back, read the dirty joke book, read the racist joke book, read whatever, and bag on your boys, right? And everybody got it.
Right.
And, if you got a couple jabs or whatever, you learn to duck, bob, weave, and jab back. Mm-hmm. And that built a better culture, in my opinion, than all this soft-ass bullshit that everybody's offended.
Right.
I mean, but you know what? Eventually it's not going to be my experience. I mean, and that's what it is. It's passing it on to our kids and their grandkids. Mm-hmm. And the sad part about it is when it comes to, and you've already seen it with the, kids our age type stuff, or our kids' age, I should say. But when it comes to their grandkids, the whole slate's wiped. They're going to grow up in all this and be all that. Mm-hmm. Good, bad, and different.
Right.
But it's going to be, can't say this, can't do this, make a situation that really wasn't. At the end of the day, it's really, in my opinion, it's about a person's energy. Mm-hmm. It's about their energy. If they have good energy, why should I worry about a word?
Yep.
Okay, if you have bad, and again, these same people that buy into this shit, they buy into the words people say.
Right.
Words and actions.
Right.
I'll buy into the actions. That's like the person saying, oh, baby, I love you, baby, I love you, baby, I love you. Listen to the words I'm saying.
Yep.
And everybody's getting gamed up. Like if we're in a relationship, we're not listening to that shit.
Right.
But because we're in a relationship with the powers that be, we listen to that shit.
Right. True that, man.
And you know what? I know we've been on the subject for a little while and we've gone all over the board. The one thing I'll say before we move on to the next segment, let's please do quick, But
lighten it up.
But I'll say this before I say that. So COVID started, in January, February, 2020, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in 2019 in October, even on the what's it called, the WEF, the World Economic Forum, there was that event with Bill Gates and them, and there was a Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation, and then also backed by the Rockefellers, so the same cronies, whatever. And it was basically a pandemic projection, Event 201. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty interesting that they basically had this prototype projection of a pandemic 2 months before a pandemic.
Hold on. So is this your coincidence again?
I mean, hey, here's the thing. Coincidence theorists, mount up. I mean, like, what pisses me off about that? Okay, and let me just add one more. And I'm sure these videos will not be around, but I think I passed them with you guys before. Also in 2019, before this, Dr. Fauci was a panel with 4 other people, I believe, and they were talking about different things. And they were talking about what would get people to take a vaccine. And he sat there and he said, well, the flu doesn't scare anybody. It's going to have to be something where there are a lot of deaths and casualties. And I mean, if anybody else did this, like in our personal world and personal relationship, we'd be like, fuck these motherfuckers.
Right.
Let's whoop their ass.
That'd be like if you're like, I hate my wife, I'm going to kill that bitch.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, she ended up dead. Everybody going to be looking at you. They're not going to be like, oh, what just happened? She shot herself, I think.
It's a coincidence.
Twice in the back of the head, yeah.
These conspiracy theorists are way the fuck out there.
whoa.
It's like, man, I mean, it's almost getting insulting, but whatever. I mean, and but again, that's all the training. I mean, there's a reason that they made sure that everybody got their antennas, the digital antennas. They didn't want everybody. I mean, here's the thing. When do they want you to watch TV unless it's for their purpose? You know what I mean? Oh, let's make sure they hand out $80 antennas to everybody once we switch the services over. You know what I mean? It's like, they don't love us. You don't love us.
Right.
And that's kind of this is all somber notes and all that. At the end of the day, I hope everybody truthfully, does the best with that situation. I mean, like Bill Gates said, there's another one coming, so let's figure it out. Let's try and work together. I mean, let's figure this out. Let's keep the energy positive. Let's try and outsmart, what's going on.
Yeah, educate yourself. So
This portion of the program was brought to you by tinfoil hats.
By Reynolds Wrap. It looks like Pfizer has left the chat. Wow.
There goes another sponsor.
But no, so, and one other thing too, I mean, I know I went real conspiracy theorist for a second, but I just want to share another story just to show you how shit is just out there. And this is a true story. And Paul, you can vouch for this. We had a business and, what's it called? I don't even know if I want to, say the name or whatever. No. Let's just to protect the innocent and the guilty.
Yeah. We had a business there.
We had a business, we had about 30 employees or whatever. This had to be about 06 or whatever, and we had an employee named Charlie, an older man, white hair, right? Probably in his, 50s?
Yeah.
50, 55, 60?
Yeah.
Anyway, so one day he comes up to me out the blue. He goes, Mitch, you seem like an open-minded individual. You mind if I share some documents with you? And I'm like, all right, cool. And he starts to give me all these conspiracy documents. But I was loving it, And I was like, wow, I didn't know, I'm kind of into this shit, but I really wasn't because at the time I think my phone was still on Cricket. So I really couldn't get the internet, shit didn't start popping until like 2011, switched to Verizon and shit, but you barely get the internet on your phone when you stand right and holding it up like the Statue of Liberty type shit. And
fresh out the brick.
Yeah, you had to go open your laptop, wait for it to fire up. Remember all the old school days?
Yeah.
It's
dial up.
It's not as bad as dial up, like AOL.
AOL. Oh my goodness.
But so now you go to these sites, you start opening your mind to a lot of shit, and you sit there and you're like, wow. And so that was my first divulge in, and so he starts handing me documents, and I didn't ask for this shit, but okay, I appreciated it. And so anyway, one day he starts telling me about how he hasn't paid taxes. Taxation's illegal. And I get that. I've heard that. And, I understand that to a degree. But what do you really do about it? You know what I mean? And good luck getting a motherfucker to listen, or the right people to listen. So, but he was literally fighting. Remember, he had to take days off to go to court.
Right.
And so one day he comes back and he took a few days off, right? And he comes back, he goes, Mitch, I finally, after 10 years of battling, I won my case.
Oh, wow.
And I go, what do you mean you won your case? He goes, taxation. Yeah, I proved that taxation is illegal in court. And they said that I do not have to pay back taxes, and I do not have to pay forward taxes. I'm like, what?
Wow.
I go, and so what do you know?
Wow, he had a better lawyer than Wesley Snipes then.
Yeah. well, see, there's a difference in my opinion. My understanding is this, and I could be wrong. I don't want to speak on it, but my understanding is, okay, it's one thing to not pay taxes. Well, first of all,
I pay my taxes.
Yeah. Me too. Hey, that's no different than paying the mafia.
If the government's out there, I pay my taxes.
So let's understand this. Let's take this, this idea real quick. It's almost no different than running a store in Brooklyn and having to pay to be on the block. Mm-hmm. I mean, and guess what? Those same people shut down that stuff to come in and collect. Those same people shut down the numbers game to run the lottery.
Right.
I mean, where does we go? Oh no, that can't be. It's just coincidence.
Right.
From coincidence theorists again out there. Nick, can we get a clap for them real quick? Coincidence theorists. Give it up. You guys make the world go round. But no, so anyway, he's like, taxation's illegal. I'm not paying my taxes, etc. And you brought up Wesley Snipes, and I'll touch back on that in 1 second. Remind me before we go to the next subject. But so I go, you know what, Charlie, I really need to see these documents. Is there any way I can have a copy of them? And he goes, well, I go, come on, you can white out or block out whatever. Okay, as long as I can block out my social security and my name, etc. Cool. So we did. I got the documents, and I think we looked at them in the office. I go, look at this motherfucking shit. It said everything on these 15 pages of documents. And I was joking around one day. Well, I kind of wasn't, but I was. I realized once I said it, I go, you know what? I'm going to make an infomercial. Go on at 12 o'clock at night on what channel? Not MTV. What's the other channel? VH1 or whatever, and do an infomercial. Go, if you don't want to pay taxes, I got the documents. I know the way to do this shit.
Right.
You'll be living for 25 days if you're lucky.
Yeah, you would have come
R.I.P.
You would have come up missing quick.
Yeah, and I mean, we all agree on that. So and the funny thing is, I had those documents, and I actually lost them.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, you lost.
I lost them, but not true. If anybody knows me, how I keep documents, yeah, no worries, powers that be. I actually lost them.
Yeah,
I lost those. I actually lost the document with Michael Jordan's, where Michael Jordan purchased the car for his father.
Oh wow.
I actually had the purchase, his ID, his social, everything.
Wow.
Long story. I lost that too.
That's great.
Yeah.
But no, the reason I'm bringing that all up in this tangent is that we had a person that was employed by us that fought the government for 10 years and actually won on taxation being illegal. I would not suggest doing that. I'm just going to tell you right now, that is not part of the 2 on the 10 podcast. We do not condone in any way trying to do that, but it's just trying to prove a point.
Right.
And saying that, things aren't always what they seem. And we have proof. You've seen it, right? You've seen those documents.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
And another person would too,
And you're gonna hit us about Wesley Snipes.
Okay, so here's the thing, and this is my 2 cents on it comparing. Okay, so if you sign, and let's just say, I don't want to generalize, I don't want to say it's him, but if you claim you made a certain amount and you sign the documents and agreements, then guess what? That supersedes all.
Gotcha.
Your rights are done.
Gotcha. Because you're legally saying I agree to
terms and conditions.
Yeah, and I agree to say these numbers on this page is as accurate as I know.
Yeah. You really don't.
And I think it says it down in small print before you even sign on it.
Yeah.
So
There's a difference between agreeing to the terms and conditions and lying about it and getting proven that you lied.
Gotcha.
Or not claiming stuff from autograph sections or whatever else.
Gotcha.
And there's another
or not filing altogether because you're not claiming.
I don't agree. No, that's illegal, and I'm going to try and fight you for 10 years.
Gotcha. That's wild, man.
And let's let's switch the topics. This is too heavy right now. Let's go back. Let's go back.
Speaking of heavy, man, I need to get back on that keto.
Take it back. Oh,
Yeah.
man, I just got off keto. It was, oh man, I love the keto diet, especially when you you go keto with intermittent fasting. Oh man, I'm telling you, the weight just comes off. But I'm excited because I just got back from Thailand. I went to Thailand right before Christmas. I actually spent Christmas in Thailand. It was amazing. If you haven't gone there, you need to go. Trust me, it is a trip that you have to do. It was phenomenal. But I got hooked on Thai food. And so I started keto right as I got back from vacation, and I've been craving Thai food the whole time. So I actually next week I am going to go to a suggested good Thai restaurant out here called Thai Basil.
Hey, Paul, I got to tell you, Thai food. You want Thai food? There's 2 places.
Okay, what's that?
One in Flagstaff. It's called Dara Thai. It's amazing. One of my top 3 Thai places.
Okay.
And then there's one here in our hometown here in Chandler. Chan Thai.
Chantai, hold on. Chantai, ain't that the dude that fucked Miley in Kickboxer?
No, it's actually a really awesome
You believe like Miley?
Thai restaurant here in the valley. So I highly recommend anybody listening check out Chan Thai. Delicious, amazing food there as well.
Chan Thai. Okay, all right. I'm gonna write that down. Keep that going. Like I said, I'm looking forward to eating carbs again.
So that's gonna be your meal from off of keto, right?
Yeah, off keto is going to be Thai food. It's going to be the first thing I eat. Second thing maybe pizza.
Pizza. Okay. Well. Speaking of that, that's kind of coincidental because I was on keto in January and broke it. after a day. No, I'm just kidding. But
I was on keto for 8 hours because I was asleep.
I was in ketosis. I wanted to bring one of my boys to one of my favorite pizza spots. And so I'm like, you know what? For that, I was on 3 weeks of keto. I'm like, let me bust my keto. And one of my favorite pizza spots that was worth busting keto over is La Piazza. La Piazza in Glendale, Arizona.
Amazing.
Amazing. And I'll tell you why.
Is it deep dish or thin crust?
It can be either, but no.
Really? Okay.
But no. He actually does 3 styles of pizza now. But you got to check in, you got to tap in, and find out when he does what. Normally, my favorite style of pizza is done on, I want to say, Saturdays and Sundays now, because it takes a lot of prep. So at least in AZ, he's the only person in the whole valley that does a Roman style pizza. So Roman style, it looks like Sicilian. So it looks like the square,
Yep.
deep, like a deep dish almost, like, but square. Except for it takes 96 hours for the dough. The dough lays out for 96 hours. It's 75% water.
Wow.
And the dough is like, on the outside, it's like cracker. Like it's like a cracker crunch, but on the inside, it's like a fluffy pillow.
Really?
Super airy, super light.
Okay. And it's
Compared to normal
called Roman style?
Roman style pizza. And then let me tell you this. He's been featured on Guy Fieri 3 different times.
Okay.
And then the show 3D, where they bring like 3 of the best chefs and go at each other, he won.
Really?
With that pizza. And in fact, I don't want to butcher the name of the pizza. It was like the El Diablo or Diabolico, and it was just like this honey chili drizzle. So it was like a sweet and spicy. That pizza is amazing. Easily one of my top 5 pizzas I've ever eaten.
Wow.
And the other people I've introduced it to have said the same thing as their favorite. One of their favorite. You've had it, right?
Yeah, it's delicious. Amazing.
Really?
It's an experience.
All right. So what's this restaurant called again?
La Piazza in Glendale. Shout out to my boy Justin Piazza.
Got you. Yeah, I love deep dish, Chicago style pizza. It's either Illuminati's or Giordano's. Giordano's is my favorite. I know they came and went here, but I think it had something to do with the water. Chicago water is like really good, and they couldn't do it. But Illuminati's out here, I mean, somehow they've been able to make it. So I'm definitely going to try that. But deep dish for me, all days. I first got hooked on deep dish back in the day when Uno's was out here. Uno's was another Chicago style pizza, and I fell in love with it. But
Did we pull up to Uno's when you had the Escalade on Spinners?
Yeah, so you said shout out to our boy Mike Ormagozo again,
Mr. Cambodia, by way of Yukon.
Yeah. Now he told me I had a candy red Escalade back in the day on Spinners. Oh man,
What's that? What, a 02, 03?
yeah, it was. I thought it was big balling back.
Oh well, shit. I'll say you was. I'll say this. Let me just say this, and I know this isn't even a part of the where he's going, but bringing up an experience. We pull up to Uno's, right?
Yep.
Uno's on Mill Ave, Tempe, and he's like, man, fuck it, I'm gonna get valet. When we wasn't really doing valet. He's like, oh, cool, let's get valet. Pull up, the rims keep spinning. Get out. I mean, it's the cliche of every rap song. We get out, we sit down, we start ordering stuff, and I think what's it called? I remember the waitress. Who do you guys play for? Oh no, we whatever. And it's cool because this dude did play in the league, and I probably from all the comments from being associated with the company, but like, oh, who you play for? Whatever. And I just remember at another point in the dinner. Do you want to take this on and say?
Yeah. Another point in the dinner is we're sitting there. We go inside. We just chopping it up, and these girls just come out of nowhere.
Well, the waitress brought it to her.
Yeah. And they came over to start talking to us. I was like, "Hey, yeah, how you doing?" And they actually were waitresses or
Bartenders
at another restaurant.
What's the Tempe bar where you where what's it called, supposed to be haunted? It's kind of like a fish place on the side. It's like kind of a little semi upscale. It's like right now real retro now, but back in the 2000s it was like the hot spot to go. Okay, you go in the patio in the bathroom, you piss on the statues.
Oh, that's that oyster bar.
Yeah.
I can't.
McSomethings, right?
No, I'll think of it.
But anyway, so
Look that shit up.
I mean, so anyway, they came in, they sat down with us. they actually bought us drinks.
Casey Moore's.
Yep, there you go. I've been
Casey
there on New
Moore's.
Year's before. Yep. Piss on the statues.
They actually bought us drinks that night. And
Yeah,
stuff like that. They
sent us a
told-
bunch of drinks.
Yep, sent us a bunch of drinks and told us, "Hey, come into the bar. We got you.
Yeah,
We'll take
yeah.
care of you." So
And let me just add this: they were sitting with two dudes.
yeah, that was pretty wild. Yeah.
like,
that
damn.
was. I hope that wasn't their boyfriends, but I did see one of them kiss him, so it might have been something. But
And I'll just say this: it just that day,
these
for
hoes
it,
ain't loyal.
I understood that, and I also understood I need to get some spinners on the Escalade. Fuck.
Well, speaking of pizza, I gotta throw my 2 cents in here with my family's all from back east, back in New York. So I'm always a big traditional New York style pizza. My favorite pizza out here, shout out to Sal's Gilbert Pizza. Probably my favorite pizza.
What's up, Sal?
But
knew you were gonna say
when I go back to New York, I mean, I've been to like John's at Bleecker, John's at Times Square is amazing. We actually went to the Sorrento's of Long Beach.
Have you been to
It's
Ray's?
awesome food. I've been to a ton of Ray's. Ray's, there's famous Ray's, famous original Ray's. There's so many Ray's that you lose track of how many Ray's there are. But there's a couple places I want to try. There's a place called Lucali I'd really like to try. Spumoni Gardens in Brooklyn.
LB's. I've been there.
Yeah.
LB's.
DeFara is another place. So there's a lot of spots that are on my list that I want to try. I watched Dave Portnoy and his One Bite pizza review. So I'm big on just finding out where the cool spots for good pizza are. And I like all types of pizza. I mean, I do deep dish, I do thin crust, I do, even thin style Chicago pizza is really, really good.
Oh, yeah, if it's done right.
Yeah, there's some places in Chicago that do it really good. And I mean, any place you can get, I think you can really get good pizza anywhere. As long as they put the proper ingredients into it and put the effort into making it, it can be good. So
So what spots would you suggest, considering we're talking pizza?
spots to suggest in New York.
Or no, wherever.
Just anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
I mean, La Piazza is an awesome pizza. I mean, a lot of people talk about Pizzeria Bianco.
Oh no!
No.
Please,
Oh, listen
no.
to this.
Please,
At one point, let me just get the background. Pizzeria Bianco, shout out to Chris Bianco, was by New Yorker magazine rated the #1 pizza in the country. Right? So now the wait is about 3 hours typically, and during Super Bowl it was like even crazier from what I heard. And so there's a little wine bar next door. You go over and you wait, and we get sauced up. So one day we were all there. In fact, one thing you got to know about this podcast, the shit we talk about, we experienced. 99% of all we experienced. And if you give us the shot to show you, I think some of the stuff we experienced and we tell the stories the way they were really happening is going to be better, more interesting than anything out there on the TV. But so we waited the 3 hours. We got liquored up on the wine, and we tried the pizza. All right, everybody, let's go around real quick since you brought up the #1 pizza at the time and still popping right now. All right, Paul, let's start with your thoughts on it.
Okay. Let me tell you this. Domino's is better. Okay.
He said that back. He literally said that back then, and I was like, "Bullshit! Come on, bro."
It is. That is one of the worst pizzas I've ever tasted in my life.
I'll just say this. I think it's more of a pizza for a sophisticated palate because they use.
Oh, wow! He said,
Hey, I'm going to tell you, I don't prefer it either. I don't really like it, but when I talk to some of my friends, like
don't hide your hands after you throw a rock,
shout out to my boy George. He thinks
boy George.
yes,
Pause.
he thinks Pizzeria Bianco that is the best thing in the world, and there was actually on Chef's Table they did a whole episode that made Bianco look like he's the god of pizza when pizza's been around for a long time before him and it's gonna be around a long time after.
Let me just say this real quick though, but we got to get back to one thing you said. So what you're saying is Paul has his palate special needs. It rides the yellow bus.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
Trust me,
from a man who loved a good Burger King burger. Said that was one of the best in the state.
Over Chuck Box.
Over Chuck Box and Tempe.
Oh my gosh! See, this is what I'm talking about.
Hey, can we get a horn? Can we get a horn? Something.
Just saying, I question.
Goodness gracious, Chuck Box is nasty too.
Oh hell no!
Yeah, hey, listen. My
Bleep
palate,
that one out.
my palate is totally sophisticated. I'm telling you, if you follow my instructions, you will eat well. If you follow these cats' instructions, you will be.
No, you just purged yourself in court. You said Domino's.
No, I said it's better than Domino's. Domino's is terrible, and that's what I'm talking about. That's how bad it was. A step underneath Domino's.
Wow, those are some words right there.
That was one of the worst. Hey, listen, I'm
Chris Bianco's left the chat.
Chris, hey Chris, if you're out there right now, listen, I'm willing to give your another try one more time.
Wow.
But if it's trash, I'm gonna tell you it's trash because it was awful.
In all fairness, man, I mean, don't get me wrong. The expectation on the weight does not help. It's the fire pizza or whatever it is, right?
Neapolitan.
Yeah, first of all, the Neapolitan, one of the problems I have with the Neapolitan, it's always soggy in the middle. Toppings fall off before you pull it. You know, the back, I love the burnt at the back or whatever. But I mean, it was a good pizza. It was a good pizza. I mean, in my opinion, you know, my humble.
Yes, definitely in his opinion.
Yeah. It was definitely better than Domino's. First of all, Domino's, all I taste is processed shit.
Hey.
I don't know if I'm eating the box or the pizza. You know, I mean,
There's no difference.
See, and they're making my point. That's how bad it was.
Domino's just left the chat.
That's how bad it was. But anyway, hey, so we're about to head down the home stretch to these NBA playoffs right here. And man, it's getting pretty interesting. You know, you got, I believe, a 2-horse race out in the East, but the West, man, is super loaded. You just got, the Lakers has made an amazing trade. They just got LeBron, AD, Russell.
I think I won by my bet by 0.5, by the way.
Oh, there you go.
One mine too.
They just got healthy. They looking super strong. You know, I'm a huge LeBron James fan. I'm not a big Lakers fan, but I love LeBron wherever he goes.
I remember when you said you were going to follow him to the Lakers. Remember that, Nick?
I do.
What? Oh, I must have been drinking that night. I don't remember all that. But I mean, you got the Warriors. I mean, they've been in the conference finals. I mean, 10 of the last 11 years. You understand? That's there's only one other team that's did that. It's the Chicago Bulls. And I mean, let's see who else you got out in the West. You got right now. You got Memphis fighting for the last spot. They've been sick. I mean, what's the team that you said no sleep on?
Oh, I mean,
OKC?
no, I didn't say that.
I said OKC. Don't sleep on them.
Oh, that was
SGA is a beast. They got a good core, and they're playing even good without him right now. So, I mean, that would be a team I wouldn't want to see in the playoffs. That I don't think they can win it all, but
I don't think they can win more than one game.
I think they could take out somebody in the first round. I think they could
Because of all their experience.
Who you got? Who you like in the West right now?
I mean, to be honest with you, and I hate the Lakers, but I think if they get the Nuggets in the first round, the Nuggets are going to have a problem,
Right.
Because I'll tell you this:
The Nuggets always fold in the playoffs, though. You know, they got a great squad going in, and then I don't know.
I'll tell you what, the Lakers match up. In my opinion, they match up well with the Nuggets. Nuggets talented squad, but I mean, you got Jokic. I mean, probably gonna win MVP again.
Right.
You know, but if Anthony Davis, you know, isn't in street clothes, you know, and if he isn't on the bottom of the locker room getting his ass spanked,
Mr. Glass.
but no, he can ball. He balled tonight. But I'm telling you, like that could be a great matchup. That's a bigger matchup than people think. Like the 2-time, possibly 3-time MVP. It's not a given he's going to win that matchup.
Right.
He may get some great stats with the assists and everything, but Anthony Davis can put some 38 and 18s on the board too. You know,
Yeah.
and that's going to be huge. LeBron, even at age 38. I mean,
Well, me and him go to the same doctor, so
over in Germany.
yeah.
They got you. Oh, got you. Yeah. We'll talk about that in another episode. You know, I'm not even going to go there. I was gonna say,
That's that one.
What do you guys think about the Eastern Conference? Who do you got in the Eastern Conference?
Oh man,
got the Bucks. Bucks, no
he
doubt,
got
no
Bucks,
doubt.
but I like the Celtics, man. I think last year, helped. They kind of limping a little bit into the playoffs, but I think they'll get it together by the time. I think they're just kind of coasting because they're already locked into their position right now. But I really like the Celtics. I think they gained a lot of experience last year, and experience, I mean, shows in any profession, whether it be sports or regular, in the corporate world. And I think they're going to be. I think they're going to bring. I don't think I don't think any team can athletically match up to them right now.
I will say one team again, a dark horse. Well, maybe not so much a dark horse that I think could make some waves, maybe surprise a team and win a round or two would be the New York Knicks. Julius Randle's been. Hey, you don't have to agree with me, but Julius Randle's been balling. Jalen Brunson is a big asset to that team that got added. Obviously, RJ Barrett's still balling. And Quigley off the bench sometimes in the starting lineup. They got a good core, and they're starting to play better. This whole year, they played a lot better than they did last year, and I could see them making some waves in the playoffs. Not necessarily making it to the finals, but I could see them maybe making it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
What?
No, listen.
Winning like a quarter or two, maybe, of one game?
No.
Yeah. The Knicks are like one of them catfish girls. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
They got all this makeup on, but then you get them home, wash it off. You know. Then,
We'll see what
They got
happens.
all
I guess.
Yeah, they got a bunch of filters. Nick just don't
Right,
recognize
yeah,
that
they got
shit. Man, they ain't even winning 2 quarters of one game.
Who you got? Oh, you said the Bucks.
Well, I got the Bucks, but if you want to give me a team that I would really wish I would have saw more from the Kevin Love trade, but I say don't sleep on the Heat. They were like a jump shot away, a 3-point shot away from maybe making the finals last year. They added Kevin Love. I would like to have seen them sink a little more,
Right.
But I mean, who knows? I mean, Jimmy Butler's been in and out,
Right.
or whatever. But if you got Butler, Amadeo, Tyler Hero, Oladipo. And then I guess the other one is, can Lowry bring it back at all? I mean, that's a talented squad, especially if Love can fit in,
Yeah, you have a lot of talent, but I mean, like I said, once you get to the playoffs,
What about a team like Cleveland?
a lot of people.
I mean, young,
but I just don't think.
defensive minded.
Yeah, but I don't think they have the pieces to.
I mean, Mitchell and Garland are a nasty one too. But yeah, I just don't know if they have enough to do it.
Yeah, you have enough to do it. Exactly. So who you guys got for the finals, though?
Ooh, that's tough. Well, first of all, can we jump back to the West real quick? Because the West is going to be tough as shit. First of all, like I touched on, we touched on the, possible, Lakers Nuggets first round.
Right.
And, I feel bad, even though I'm glad as a KD and Suns fan that, the Clippers might, I mean, again, I don't want anybody hurt. I want this to be, everybody at full strength, of course. But if Paul George is hurt, with his knee, or whatever else, and somehow the Suns face him in the first round, it's going to be, not easy, but it's going to be, a lot lighter task,
Right.
To get while the Suns keep gelling, because
Gotcha.
Katie just came back, they got to still get that, continuality, get used to each other still, and figure out who. It's not even about the superstars playing with each other. It's figuring out the bench and the substitutions and who that fifth man's going to be starting. Sometimes it's mailman-ish or whatever. He's making his threes, but we've seen a lot of other talented players. I think, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Here's the thing. I'm hoping and thinking if the Suns can get it together, they really make a run. But you got the Warriors. You got the Lakers, you got the Nuggets, and here's the thing. I mean, if the Clippers are healthy, if they're healthy, but I don't think they are.
And even Memphis has been playing amazing all year. So
I mean, the West is
stacked.
It's ridiculous. And here's the crazy part. We didn't even talk about Luka and Kyrie falling out of the rotation. I don't even think they're making the playoffs.
Right. Man, like I said, the West is difficult. That's what I'm saying. I think the championship's coming out of the West again. You can't sleep on the defending champs. I just their pedigree that says you cannot count them out. I mean, they just get hot, and I mean, when the Splash Brothers are shooting the lights out, they're unbeatable at times. You know what I'm saying? And Steph just making it look like a video game. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. And like I said, I'm excited. I'm more excited for this playoffs than I have been in a long time because I think there's so much parity especially throughout the West. I think we kind of know who maybe the 2 to 4 teams are in the East, but
and definitely not the Knicks.
but it can come like that. But so who do you got for the finals?
Ooh, I'm gonna say it's a run back of 2 years ago. I'm gonna say it's the Bucks and Suns.
Bucks and Suns. Wow. Okay. I kind of like that. What you got?
what I like and I'd like to see, because I think it'd be an intriguing matchup, would be Bucks Golden State.
Bucks. Yes. Okay. Bucks, Golden State.
Can shooting, outplay Giannis?
Right.
You got all the 3-point shooters of the Golden State. Can they take down Giannis? I mean, he's a beast. And with Middleton being healthier this year, I think they
Holiday stepped it up.
and Holiday stepped it up. I think that would be kind of an intriguing matchup because the Warriors don't really have anybody to match up inside with Giannis, but they don't really have anybody that can match up with Curry and Clay shooting from the outside either. So it's going to be a battle of what wins, the inside domination or the outside threes.
Right. I got you. I gotta ride with my boy. I think LBJ. I think this is his last run. I know everybody keeps saying he's going to play until his son gets in the league, which I feel if he won a championship this year, I think he's got to go out that way. I mean, he's still playing at a super high level, so he keep going. But I'd love to see.
He's got to go back to Germany.
You gotta go. We see, like I told you, we see the same doc. So but the Lakers, Celtics. That's why I would like to see an old school playoffs. Back in the day, you used to have Bird and Magic going at it. They don't have those kind of superstars that they used to. I mean, LeBron is an older superstar, and you got Jaylen Brown and Tatum. They're up and coming superstars, so they're not both in their prime like Bird.
I don't know. Hey, Tatum might win the scoring title at 31 a game.
Yeah. So, well, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying back in the day. But I'd love to see that old matchup again, and they do that build up with the Celtics Lakers going at it again. I think that would be fun, just for the nostalgia part of it. So.
Well, I think that's a good transition into my thought of the day.
What did you say? You're going to transition into what? Pause.
So, my transition to thought of the day. I grew up a Larry Bird fan back in the mid 80s, early 90s. But in the early 90s, I really started to fall in love with the Phoenix Suns team. And you had, people like Kurt Rambis, Kevin Johnson, Mark West, like these old school rugged type players. And that's the thing I loved about Larry Bird is he was just an old school, like lunch pail to work type of basketball player. And I love that. And that's how I always played my game. I was always the guy diving on the floor for loose balls in the pickup games on the street. People are like, what the hell are you doing?
You were diving for balls?
Yes. So the thing I wanted to bring up is, which I think is an amazing stat, which do you guys know what the most points ever scored in a half is?
Oh, wow. In a half.
I will tell you, it was done in the 90-91 season.
48?
Probably 50.
Most points scored in a half, so 2 quarters.
Yeah, 48.
48 points is the most you think they ever scored in a half.
No, not in a half.
That people have scored that in a quarter.
Yeah. I mean.
Who scored 48 in a quarter?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now. Any guesses?
Probably
60-something, probably.
Probably 72.
No. Most points ever scored in a half, 107 by the Phoenix Suns.
Wow. Oh, I thought you were talking about one player.
No, I'm talking about a team.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I think that's pretty amazing. That's a record I'm not sure ever will be broken.
Gotcha.
107 points in one half of basketball is just unbelievable.
Right. Hey, thought of the day?
Yeah, you know what? I was going to go with something a little deeper, but I thought today's show was a little too heavy. You know what I mean? Overall, so I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm going to go on a light note. Okay. So you guys watch, Saturday Night Live, or you watch TikTok, from earlier or whatever. Right. You guys see the, the newscast show. Yep. They go back and forth. The white dude and the black dude, and they supposedly they write each other's, presentations, and they don't know it until they get on the air. Right. I mean, I don't care what everybody says. That's funny as shit. Oh, yeah. I'll be cracking up. But so I'm a big fan of those guys. Whatever. Well, okay. So the white dude, what's his name? Colin Jost or whatever or something, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
Comedian, been on the show since the early 2000s. You know who he's married to?
Who?
Yeah.
One guess. Anybody?
Well,
no idea.
Scarlett Johansson.
No, Steve better.
Damn.
Wow, man. Look at him. He outkicked his coverage.
Hey, he's doing a lot of things right. So yeah, no, I for some reason I blew my mind. So no, I gotta, so you can't hate, you gotta congratulate. So I gotta congratulations.
Shout out.
I think KD had a tweet once. about Scarlett Johansson. Think something about he'd drink her bathwater.
Oh wow, got to go back and check that one. Thought of the day: Easter. Easter's coming up, man. So here's the thing: is I have to say is, I'm a Christian. God is my Lord and Savior, and so Easter is not just about Easter bunnies and eggs and stuff like that. So when you go into church your one time out of the year, realize what this holiday is about, and spend it with your family, and make sure that you appreciate waking up that day and love on them. And like I said, try to get to church more often than just on Easter. My problem is too many of these holidays are too perverted, and it's all about almighty dollar. But this one coming up is about my Lord and Savior. So I had to end on that heavy note. But
Well, on that note,
And what he's saying is, don't treat Easter like you do the gym after New Year's Eve.
there you go. Exactly. Well said, Mitch. All right. We'll catch you guys next week. This is Mitch. This is Paul. This is Nick.
Reading it.
2 on the 10 podcast.
You bitch you.